Caroline Bombart, thanks for joining.
You're welcome.
Um,
Nice to join you.
Very much so. Caroline, a question I always like to start with is how did you end up in B2B marketing? But doing a bit of digging, I would actually like to start with your university experience at the University of Stirling, because I've actually run an event in Stirling, and it's the most peculiar random place in Scotland. What made you end up there, and how? And then I guess it'd be great to hear more about how like your B2B
Okay.
experience went.
Yeah, so I've been, to make the long story short, I've been an expat since my teenage years, and first followed my parents in the US, where I graduated from the International Baccalaureate. But then we came back to Europe, and I ended up at university in Stirling. So my parents lived in Edinburgh, and I went to university at Stirling.
Oh,
That's the reason why. Yeah.
it
So
makes it. It
and
was
then
such like a
and then of
delight.
all things, it's like I studied economics and Spanish in in Scotland, and people are always amused by that because it's a strange combination. But I love languages, and yeah, so I started my within telecoms, then moved into FMCG, and then was headhunted back into technology and B2B software, and I haven't left.
Nice. But all of those roles marketing related as well. Like, how did you transition from economics and languages basically to marketing, or were you just curious by that?
No, well, after economics and marketing, I did a further degree into business administration and import export, and that's how I really started my career working for a Korean mobile phone company. And within a year, I transitioned from sales to marketing and managing event across the globe from Europe to Asia Pac and back. So
So that's crucial. So one thing that I've kind of noticed is any marketer that has done sales has like a sales background to some degree beforehand, I find have more insightful answers. No heat towards marketers that haven't done that, of course, but it's interesting when it comes to sales and marketing alignment questions when that happens. So Caroline, what we're going to do is we've collected some challenges. We're taking it back to basics this episode, and I'm just going to pitch them one by one to you, and we will go through them. So are you
okay,
ready for question one?
yes,
We need some crazy sound effects here, don't we? Like, who
okay,
wants to be a millionaire? Challenge one is sales and marketing alignment. So this is the
yep.
crux where it all starts. What is your process, step by step, I guess, of aligning with the sales team? How do you win them over and get them on board?
Okay. So I think, yeah, I mentioned that most of my experience is within SaaS software, and I like to start aligning sales and marketing and share so that we can share the revenue responsibility and co-own the pipeline. So I usually, whenever I step into a new role or join a new company, I usually establish the strategy, the go-to-market strategy, and I aim to meet with the sales team or the AE at least once a week, and really look at the figures, the SLAs, the dashboards in Salesforce, and align the metrics. And are we stuck at any point in the sales funnel? How can we grow the sales cycle a bit faster? And how can marketing help really facilitate to take those clients to the next level and bring the opportunity home to close the sales. So that's always been my approach. And sometimes you're faced with silos, and but I always extend I think that with sales and marketing working closer together, you can achieve 30% faster sales rate. That's what I've experienced today.
That's the super interesting. And okay, so we've got a weekly cadence. I tried
Uh-huh.
to avoid the follow-on questions because of time, but I'm curious to go down here a bit further. And aligning around metrics, that's great. You also
Yeah.
mentioned like how can marketing help? Do you ever have any friction as to sales? How do you show your worth as marketing? Like for example, like how can marketing help? Almost generic
Yeah,
question, but
no,
is
I
that
know.
Do you come with like resources? Do you show them? Well, you mentioned the stats there, like we closed 30% more business or quicker. But like, yeah, what like little tactical insights have you got there of like how do you bridge those conversations or approach them?
Well, I think the friction is always that sales comes to me or to the marketing team saying, well, the quality just isn't there. You're bringing quantity, but you're not bringing the quality. And sometimes sales are saying, well, I mean, or they would want marketing to do all the heavy lifting and just pick up the phone and close the sale. That's not how the process is supposed to work. Whenever I see, so by meeting on a weekly cadence, you understand where there might be hurdles that we need to overcome. Whether it's top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and it's usually middle of the funnel, where you need to devise maybe a new video explainer video, a new white paper to bridge the gap, the knowledge gap, and so designing content and messaging to help sales win the client over. So looking at what's new existing resources and then creating something new if it fills the gap to help customers to bridge that.
Okay, so that's a really nice way to do it. So it's not necessarily love at first sight. It's like one of those really deep but slow burn good relationships that evolve and build over time.
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
build trust. Okay, so I think that's something that's important to keep in mind if you're just launching ABM. Challenge 2 is setting ABM objectives. So I really like to frame this question from the point of view of like someone that's new. I'll let you take it however you want, but like if you were new to ABM and wanted to like pilot it, like kind of what are the key objectives? Obviously it varies company to company, but like what are some important like KPIs or milestones to kind of align around?
Yeah. I think I usually look at business. I tie the ABM objective with our business outcomes, and I usually focus on 3 pillars: the engagement within the target account, and then looking at decision makers within the account and how many channels they engage with us, the contribution they have made over time, and looking at net new pipelines and the revenue and the ACV from other non-ABM. So usually within the SaaS industry, it's, you're trying to upsell number of licenses. If they have one product, you try to diversify their portfolio. You try with, you look at, in each account, you look at your ICP and the decision makers. So you build really like an account plan and who you will target first. Yeah, so it's a joint sales and marketing approach saying, okay, so we want to target these 3 accounts or these 5 accounts. And it depends very much on your ABM strategy, if you're doing one-to-one, one-to-many, or but typically I've looked at a more personalized approach and looking at 3 to 5 ABM accounts where we really want to grow the revenue and sales within those.
Interesting. Yeah. You also make a good point there, which I don't think we cover it in the questions here about, I think a lot of people see ABM as growing net new business as opposed to like growing existing customer business.
It's also upselling, upselling. When as a software company, they might have existing license and for this one, but would they benefit from extending that license to a new product, or could they, it's looking at the portfolio and where we can help.
Yeah, bingo, bang on the money. And I think a lot of people, especially when piloting it, should probably look to that as a use case as well first. You touched upon it there, but the next challenge that came in is target account selection. So you've already mentioned it's important to align with sales, but like, let's go from step 0, right? You're new. How do you decide step by step what target accounts to go after?
Well, I usually sit down with sales. My last experience, we looked also at stagnant account. So we did a full review of all the accounts via firmographics, technographics, intent data, historical data, and by division. And then we also named within the sales team, we named a champion user who would be my go-to contact in sales within that account. And I met with that person on a weekly basis to devise the plan for the account, identify the decision makers, and then devise the strategy and which channels we were going to use to implement the ABM campaign.
This is nice how it's all kind of like tying together. And just quickly, how long does that process take roughly? Like, how long would you give yourself? Again, it depends clearly on that one-to-one, one-to-few, but like ballpark.
1 to 2. In my previous experience, 1 to 2 months. So when you want to do it strategically, I think it took almost 2 months, and then implementing, and then the rest was just implementation for the rest of the year.
Sure, because there's a ton of data. There's so much data that you could go through.
And now, I mean, with AI, you have, I think the analysis part is now, I mean, I can really see the benefits of, just bringing all the research, all the data, and sorry, I'm branching out into AI.
No, it's good.
But it's such a time saver, because you bring all of your research into one place, and you can bring out the takeaways, what you necessarily haven't noticed yourself, or it's almost like a second intelligence.
For sure. Like I mean, that's a whole episode in itself, but AI, the prep, the research, it saves so much time, which flows into the next problem. Challenge 4 is account research. So you've got your list, you've aligned with sales.
Yeah.
You're clearly a very technically gifted marketer, comfortable with all the tools, the technographics, firmographics, and things like that. But what is your approach to researching accounts? I won't overload you with questions, but like how much, because you could go down that rabbit hole forever. Like, how do you know when you've got enough research? And you don't want to overload sales as well by just giving them too much. So like, what is your process here?
I usually establish or categorize the account in terms of tiers. So that then defines our approach. And within each tier, we focused on the top accounts. I looked at, within that account, who would be our ICP or buying committee, and identify those people. Do we need to make new connections? I also look at what triggered previous purchases, and what will help trigger new ones. And also, with the help of sales, I'll revisit the competitive footprint. How are we measuring, and do we need to do something else to land or expand opportunities?
Yeah, I think that's a big one as well. Like, people get lost in dashboards, and actually just speaking to sales sometimes is also the best way to go, I think.
Yeah, just exactly, because they get the feedback. My biggest, I think, pet peeve is that if it were all into Salesforce or into the CRM, if there was more information, instead of having sometimes to drain, to brainstorm with them, because it's all up here, but it's not shared. It's not shared. I
empathize with them, because I've been in there, and you're like, oh, I can't, like, these are minute details that I can't be bothered to share with anyone. But it's the minute details that actually help close deals.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Engagement channels. So this is all of these questions are based on previous guest questions, but this came in from Janelle, and I'm sorry, Janelle, but I adapted it slightly. She asked what top 3 things would you prioritize, but I want to specifically dive into engagement channels. So again, depends on company and your product, as you know, but for you within the B2B SaaS world, I guess specifically, what engagement channels and strategies, I guess, what are your top 3? What's working well for you at the moment?
Okay. What really worked well with a CTR of 45% was conversational ads. Really one-on-one on LinkedIn, and I worked with the sales team to really devise personalized content, and then they were sending. So I built the whole sequence of content with And the second one was emails, again, well, conversational ads, email workflows, and web personalization as well. So we had a mix of these three.
Nice.
Yeah.
So ads is probably like my least skilled topic when it comes to ABM, which is funny because it's like a big crux of what ABM is. But like in terms of executing ads, I'm not the expert. But to me, 45% seems insanely high for a click-through rate.
We were blown away. Exactly. So was my social media manager.
What are there any more details you can share on that? Like maybe I'm going to ask you offline, and we'll pull up maybe like what that looked like potentially. But that's incredible. Okay, challenge 6: content creation. So we've done the research. You've got your channels, conversational ads clearly. But how do you approach creating content? And again, I think what's helpful for new people is again putting those parameters on things, right? Like I'm a big believer in, as I'm sure this isn't like anything new, but like I'd rather create once and distribute it in 100 different places than create 100 bits of content and it lives in one place, unless it's SEO. But like, how much is too much? What content do you create? How deep do you go? I'll pass it over to you.
Okay. Another very successful ABM tactic that I used for a GPS software company was actually one-on-one video intros from our CEO to the person. And yes, it took a long time to actually personalize those videos. But again, we had I think almost like 50% response rate to the CEO's LinkedIn message with the...
So it was distributed through an ad. But the
No, it was distributed. I was managing his LinkedIn account. We recorded for each. So we did the selection of the potential buyers or our ICP in each of the target, and we recorded a video specific for that person.
Okay.
Based on his job title, based on so it was one-on-one. A video. Hello, my name is, and today I'd like to talk to you about blah blah blah. Those, we are the solution. We are bringing. So you're currently
direct message. So like, okay, that's awesome. I'm kudos to you and the CEO for not just getting AI to do it.
I mean, by the end of we were both because I was the one recording, and obviously, it never goes smooth first time around.
Never.
So it was a long process, but we really reaped all the benefits because they were responding. I would say we had a response rate of about 50%.
I mean, at that point, like the sausage factory going, keep churning it out. Like 1 in 2 people that you're talking to is like getting a response. Like just keep that up. Yeah, that makes so much sense. I guess the only problem with that is you can't scale your CEO necessarily.
No, exactly. Yeah.
But also, I mean, we could go down a rabbit hole. We'll keep going on that. Challenge 7: evolving ABM and demand gen. So this question came in from Cassandra. And she asked, how have your thoughts on ABM/demand gen evolved or changed in the last 12 months?
Okay. So I've run ABM at scales using the demand gen tactics, paid media, SEO, web targeted ads, and tracking, obviously, account level engagement. And this has really improved our pipeline predictability, I would say about 20%, because ABM is no longer a silo. It's part of our operating system and of the overall go-to-market strategy that and our launch campaign. So
I think that's.
it used to be categorized as separate from the rest of the campaign, and it now needs to be completely merged and integrated into your we used to call him the all campaign. ABM also plays, you can't dissociate it from the rest of your campaign because it has an impact. And so if you run social, and it's all about the touch points, whether you're personalizing your ABM or you're doing a more generic campaign for a different target group.
Yeah, there's just no excuse not to really apply some ABM principles. You don't have to go all the way with it, but just
Yeah.
like ABM again to me is just simply good marketing, like an actual message delivered to the relevant people. Yeah. Okay, phenomenal. Last few things. We build a lot of software at ABM Answered, like point solutions. Some work, some don't. But we're kind of like an incubator experiment. So we always ask, if you could invent a tool or technology, what would it be and why? And just for fun, you don't have to limit it to ABM if needed.
No. I think I mentioned AI before, and I think I'd like to build like an AI pipeline pulse, to understand what and predict within an account the buying cycle, the readiness score.
Yeah.
Because you get, as I was explaining before, you get all these inputs and the trends but if you could combine that and know that people have already expressed some signs that there is an interest in your product, and if you could capitalize on that and be alerted by this AI platform, then you could reduce the engagement time and compress that and sometimes eliminate some of your pipeline surprises.
I really like that, and I think a part of that would probably come down to what you said. There's a lot of platforms out there that's like, hey, we've got intent data, like third-party intent.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like I have to go to Zoom Info, or I get from Power BI and my channel. But what if I could get this intent, intent at account level and web activities? And it's actually, I think I was attending a workshop in Amsterdam recently where the agency was saying it's that intent, it's building it. People don't want to be fed generic stuff. They want really for you to build marketing and make them feel that they are part of this community, and that you're actually tailoring your messaging, your communication towards them and their pain point, not covering, blanket covered. It is that sense of community. So if an AI tool was to exist and bring that all together, that would be great.
It has to include like sales insights as well, like extracting it from their head for it to work.
I know. Yeah. Only the brain. I think the AI may not be might crash.
Maybe that's what it looks like. It's Black Mirror-esque, and it's like every salesperson when they go, or Severance, it's like every time they go to work, they have to have a chip in their head, and it extracts their thoughts. You never have to worry about them not updating the CRM again, because it's just coming. Right, Caroline, last question. Do you have a question for our next guest?
Yes. So what is the most counterintuitive ABM strategy that you've tried and actually worked, and what did you learn from it?
I love that. Counterintuitive ABM strategy. You flipped the question on its head. Superb. I will get that asked. Caroline, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Really enjoyed our conversation. So
awesome. Next time. Let's go.